It's car accident week. A wonderful, wonderful, wonderful topic of the week. It's car accident week. Yeah. Michael, I'm really glad you're okay. At first, before I say anything, I'm glad you're okay. Because car accidents, they're scary and they can be expensive and you can get really hurt. So I'm glad you're alright. My own personal car accident story. I was 17, 9 days after I got my driver's license, and I was driving home from school with my dad and my childhood best friend in the car, and some lady decided to run through a stop sign. Now, my dad got hurt, and my friend Danita got hurt, and I panicked. I was like in shock. I think probably because I wasn't completely comfortable driving yet, and I kind of freaked out. So I ran around, and I went to someone's house, and I called 911, which was busy, and then I was put on hold for 9 minutes. I don't get that. But, then we all went, they went in paramedics, and I followed them behind. But as we were in the hospital, I started to hurt really bad in my hips, and backstory. When I was born without, I wasn't fully developed. I'm not really sure what my mother did. Not that it's her fault, even though usually it's the mother's fault. But, yeah, I was born without hip joints, and so I spent the first 3 years of my life in body casts and leg braces and all this kind of stuff. And so, when we were in the ER, I started to lock up, where I couldn't walk anymore, and so I got some x-rays done, and my joint was all messed up, especially my left side. My left hip joint was thrashed, and I had always had problems with it. I walk with a limp and stuff like that. So I didn't know really what to do. So they sent me to a surgeon, and it wasn't very pleasant. And needless to say, I ended up in a wheelchair. I spent the rest of my high school, from my junior and senior year, I was in a wheelchair. And it really sucked. It was pretty awful and traumatic. And I don't talk about it on video that much. I mean, I am now because the subject is car accidents. But it was really humiliating in high school to be in a wheelchair. And at one point I was waiting for my mother to pick me up after school. And I was outside, and the school bus went by, and some dude decided to be funny to throw all of his wet sunflower seeds at me and yell, "Fucking cripple." So he threw all these sunflowers at me, and he's like, "Fucking cripple!" Blah, blah, blah. And all of his sunflower seeds just kind of stuck to my face, and, it was pretty traumatic. I was like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. So I was in physical therapy for a while. They were trying to get me out of the wheelchair, which physical therapy didn't work, but they were giving me all these anti-inflammatory drugs, which I know you all know that I had a kidney transplant, but part of the reason why is because all of the anti-inflammatory drugs that they gave me from the car accident made me lose the rest of my kidney function, which was, I had 40% kidney function when I was 17, and all the medications made me lose it. Now, in all fairness, I would have, to the situation, I would have eventually needed a kidney transplant, but they said it sped up the process by 5 years. So, from the car accident, I had a bunch of hip and pelvic operations, and to get me out of the wheelchair before I had my transplant, because once I had my transplant, the surgeries to get me out of the wheelchair would be too difficult on the transplant. So, yeah, car accidents fucking suck. So I did end up suing the lady. It is the only time I've ever sued anybody, because I'm not a suer kind of person. But I'm not saying if you sue, that's bad. I'm just saying, it's too much hassle for me. And I sued her, and I got $100,000. However, you never give a teenager $100,000. It's like the stupidest thing you could ever do. Here's $100,000. You're a teenager. I'm sure you'll be responsible. Not gonna happen. So I just bought cars. I just bought cars, because I was totally into cars, because I'm gay, and that's, how we work. And I was badass with, fast automobiles, but it goes fast when you buy cars, and cars get old, and then they break down, and then you have nothing to show for it, which, I should have probably bought a condo.